Hi, everybody. Welcome back to In the Cards and Stars. I'm your host, Britt Madrid Mogensen. And in this episode, we're talking about really big things. Yes, Jupiter. So, we're talking about Jupiter's transit into Gemini, everything that's going to be going on over the next 12 months. This is something that is huge. The big planet that brings gifts, luck, and abundance. The effect that it could have on all of our lives is really big. And depending on where this is happening in your natal chart, there's a part of your life that's going to be glowing up. It's going to be glowing up, and we want to be sure it's not blowing up. Okay. So we're going to talk about it so that you know what to expect and you can plan accordingly and make any shifts that may be necessary. Also, we are going to look at the birth chart of influencer, podcast extraordinaire now, Trisha Paytas, who just went through this very important Jupiter transit through her natal Taurus, which is her sun sign, and it's also her Jupiter return. And we saw that she had a huge glow up over the past year. So she's definitely an example of like what can happen with the Jupiter transit if you use the energy, if you show up, and if it's hitting your natal chart just right. So let's get into it. Jupiter transiting the sign of Gemini. To look at what's happening now, we got to look at the past. So pull up your natal chart first and foremost. I want you to make sure that this is in whole sign houses because that's the system that we're using here. Then I want you to look at which house is ruled by the zodiac sign of Taurus and which house is ruled by the zodiac sign of Gemini. So if you look at Taurus, this is where this transit has just wrapped up after 12 months. So this whole transit of Jupiter in Taurus was from May 16th of 2023 all the way through May 25th, 2024. So that part of your life, the Taurus house, was being impacted by Jupiter's energy, meaning that it expanded. You guys, it is so wild because for me, I ended up letting go of my studio in Dallas and moving to Kansas City full time, having a home studio built here, adopting 3 dogs. Now we're doing some other stuff with the house, but that was Jupiter transiting my Taurus fourth house of home and family. And it was just bizarre how much Jupiter really did impact that part of my life, which is why I wanted to dive a little deeper into this and see where it's affecting you in your life. So look back, how did that Taurus part of your life change? How did it expand? How did it grow? How did you heal? Did you get any gifts, any special surprises? And then now, back to present day, May 25th, 2024 through June 9th, 2025. Now this Jupiter energy of expansion, gifts, and luck has moved into our Gemini ruled house in our birth charts. So if it was in your fourth house, it'll be in your fifth house. If it was in your third house, your fourth house, first house, your second house. It's just moving one down the line. This is now the area of your life that you're going to be focusing on because it's going to be expanding and growing. And where there's more activity, that's where our focus is naturally drawn. Yes, your life is still going to have balance, but you're going to notice that this Jupiter area of your life gets bigger. It's so crazy how it just is so dead on for so many people. So we're going to look at some celebrities so that we can see this astrology happening in the wild. First, let's talk about what Jupiter is, what Jupiter does, and then we're going to get into the celebrities. So quick overview. I've already told you guys, and you probably already knew that this is the giver of gifts and luck. So when Jupiter is transiting a certain part of your birth chart, it's like you get a little gift from the universe. You are noticing that there's a lot more activity in that part of your life. So, for example, if this is your first house, you may find that there's more focus on yourself. Maybe you decide to start working out. Maybe you decide to change your hair. Maybe all of a sudden you start a modeling career. Like, I don't know, the focus is on you. Things are expanding. Maybe you start taking a course of study. And so you're spending more time focused on you, yourself, your goals. You may get a new job. Like it's just the focus is on you. Okay. So, second house, you'll notice that you might all of a sudden spontaneously get a raise or get a different job that pays a lot more, or a side hustle will pop up. This is your money house expanding. If it's your third house, this is siblings, communication, friends. I launched my podcast in the Cards and Stars that you are listening to right now. I launched in the Cards and Stars during a Jupiter transit through my third house. Previously, this was just an extension of my TV show. I realized I didn't really want to do that anymore. I wanted the show to live on ABC in Dallas where it lives, and I wanted this podcast to be something different. And that realization happened while Jupiter was in my third house of communication, writing, broadcasting, media. Okay. Bizarre. You guys, I'm telling you, it is so dead on. And this is not something that I ever really looked at until this year because I had to look at my astrology because there was just so much focus on my home and family. And I realized this is all due to Jupiter. So I'm sure as you guys are thinking back, you're also noticing some aha moments of just how much this has affected you too. It's wild, right? Okay. So your third house, okay, also that's siblings, that's neighbors, neighborhoods. You may find that you are out and about in your neighborhood more because something's going on and maybe you decide to take up walking or maybe something moves into town and it's like maybe a soul cycle is established. Man, dare to dream. Maybe a soul cycle is established right down the street from you. And so you start going there and you are more part of the community and you find like your neighborhood crew. Okay. Fourth house, home and family. I already said that could be moving houses, it could be renovating, that could be getting closer to family members. Jupiter is like gifts and luck. So it could be like miraculous things that you don't expect. Just all kinds of things and activity and glow up energy happening in and around your home. Fifth house, this is creativity and romance. This is fun. This is your childlike nature. Yes, this one is a pregnancy possibility transit. I'm in that one right now. That wouldn't be a bad thing. That could be awesome. Um, and then creativity, this would be like a new project. This would be possibly deciding to take up a hobby. Maybe it's not even a professional thing. Maybe you decide that you want to start painting for fun. Maybe it's music. Like, think of fifth house, it's just the things that really bring us joy, and you'll get more opportunities for joy and fun and even travel or parties or being more social. That's all fifth house stuff. It's just things that bring us joy. Sixth house, this is your daily routines, your activities. This could include maybe a glow up in the coworkers that are in your space, or maybe you move office buildings and you find that you just love your daily routine so much more now because your commute has improved and they offer donuts, complimentary downstairs on Fridays and you just love it. and and maybe there's a walking trail right nearby. Like, it's a glow up in your day-to-day activities, your work, like your work day, like your literal daily routines, your health, your wellness. This could be all of a sudden healing from something that's been ailing you or finding the right doctor. Seventh house, this is your partnerships. So when you have a Jupiter transit through your house of partnerships, this could attract an amazing business partner or the love of your life. Jupiter also has to do with marriage and like things that we expand that are super joyful. So this would be a really positive marriage partner if you meet them during a Jupiter transiting your seventh house moment. So that is just all kinds of good partnerships. Also, your friendships could improve, your closest relationships could improve. You could find that you all of a sudden have more time to spend with the people that you really love and care about. Or, like I said, like the perfect business partner just happens to fall into your lap. Something good having to do with you and another person joining forces. And if it is romantic, it could also just be like a really positive shift. If you're already married, maybe you and your husband really find a way to reconnect. Maybe it's doing a weekly date night, or you guys just get closer in a different way and you find that you're just super happy. That is all Jupiter energy. Eighth house is inheritances. And this does not necessarily mean someone's going to pass away. It could be inheritances of, I mean, Jupiter is very surprising because it's gifts and luck and it's like lottery energy. So, like, literally, you could win the lottery. That could also be a fifth house thing. But eighth house, this is just really like transformation as well. So the eighth house rules like that transformation, death, and rebirth. You may find that Jupiter transforms your whole darn self. Maybe from the ground up, you have a glow up. Maybe you change the way that you think about yourself, the way that you look, the way that you combine energies with other people, because the eighth house is about combining energies, real estate, investments, glowing up in shared finances, shared resources, deep intimacy, and transformation of the self. So it's very profound. This has to do with like really the foundational underpinnings of our lives. It has a scorpionic tone to it. So if you are transforming with the light and love of Jupiter in that part of your life, you can expect just your life to feel a lot lighter than it has in a long time. And it gives you this opportunity to feel held and experience really positive transformations and like greases the wheels of financial investments and shared resources, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's an intense house. It really is. Okay. But it's so good to have Jupiter in such an intense house because what a nice little glow up energy to have over all the intense, deepest parts of our lives, right? Okay. Ninth house is expansion of your philosophical thoughts, traveling overseas, foreign countries, being able to share your deepest thoughts. It could be religious exploration as well, meeting people from different cultures. You may all of a sudden get the opportunity to travel overseas. How fun! You may find that other random international opportunities and connections start to really come to you, and you're not quite sure how it even happened. 10th house, this is all about your career and your public image. So if you have Jupiter transiting your 10th house, expect your profile to really get a big boost. I mean, people are going to be looking at you like you are really someone successful. Your status could change either at work, getting a promotion, or it could be like a social thing. But overall, people are going to really be looking at you as someone who is in the spotlight for having this luck and this higher status change. So, very, very lucky for career, very lucky for raising your profile in the community. If you are a public person or you want to be a public figure, this is definitely go time when Jupiter enters your 10th house. So, go for it. I mean, go for the gold because you definitely will get it if you apply yourself while Jupiter is in that 10th house. Go for that promotion. Just show up in work and it's going to really pay off because Jupiter is going to just give you that boost anyway. 11th house, this is your social circles. This is groups. This is social media as well. So if you want to grow your online presence, or if you just want to join at some clubs and expand your social circle, if you've been needing to make new friends or you feel a little bit isolated, when Jupiter enters your 11th house, that's going to be a thing of the past. You have ample opportunity then to really meet the connections that are going to bring you joy, happiness, and luck. So that's just such a fun energy to have. I love Jupiter in the 11th house. It's really going to just expand your social circle. And when I say expand, it's not just like letting random people in. It's like Jupiter brings in people who are very like joyful and they add joy to your life. And that's so beautiful. It's so fun. And social media, of course, if you want to like post or go viral, you just might. I mean, while Jupiter's in your 11th house, everything's expanding. So this stuff is very real. I'm telling you guys, do not ignore this moment. You have 12 months to really make the most of it, but I say get started right now. Okay. And then last but not least, the 12th house. Now, when you have Jupiter transiting your 12th house, this is the house of healing psychologically. And this is really important because while the fourth house is our like physical foundation and the eighth house is like kind of building on that physical foundation to expand to like money and finances, and the second house ties in there too. Like those are all very physical houses, right? That's about like what we can see, touch, taste, feel. It's our day-to-day experience. The 12th house is different. The 12th house has nothing to do with what you can see, touch, taste, or feel. It is spiritual. It is transcendent. It is our subconscious, our childhood, our past lives, if you believe in that. The 12th house goes deep. It's the things that we really aren't aware of. And when you're not aware of something, it can be hard to change it, right? These subconscious patterns and processes. When Jupiter enters your 12th house, though, the gift that Jupiter gives you is expanding your ability to heal and bring joy and lightness to the parts of your life that may be affecting you or holding you back that you don't even know about. You're not even aware of this. And when that happens, this can be sometimes through deep thought. There could even be a moment where you have like a realization, or it could be something really subtle that's just kind of going on behind the scenes of your like subconscious of your mind through your dreams. I know this sounds very wild, but that is the 12th house. The 12th house is hard to understand in the physical because it is transcendent. The 12th house is represented by Pisces in the zodiac, which is the fish swimming through the deep, deep waters. And it's very psychic and it's like the ether, it's the intangible, right? So when Jupiter expands that part of your life, you can expect your creativity to be expanded, your ability to heal your subconscious processes and patterns to be expanded, your ability to manifest to be expanded. So I would say do some journaling during this 12th house transit. Make sure that if anything comes up that you become aware of, you may want to go to a therapist because this could be a really good time to heal those patterns with the help of Jupiter. the giver of gifts and luck and abundance. When you take action with Jupiter there in your 12th house, it's very healing and very positive. Also, this could give you more alone time to focus on the things that are most important to you. So just pay attention to where you're being guided by the universe to spend more time in solitude or working on yourself, but not in the way of the first house, which is more physical. Like it would be like working out or like, cutting your hair and things like that. This is like focusing on yourself in the spiritual, in the psychological. And it's also, like I said, very, very creative. So you could write something very profound. If you want to write a book, this would be a really good time. If you want to change some other sort of pattern in your life, or make a big life change, the 12th house transit could be really good for that because it could bring you closer to your life's destiny. Your intuition is going to be really turned up high. So listen to your intuition and enjoy this kind of floaty year where you get to detach a little bit from the day to day and go back to the real you, the spiritual you underneath all of the hubbub. So that is Jupiter in a nutshell. And to better understand and illustrate how Jupiter can impact us over this next year, it's really fun to look at celebrities, right? To look at their lives, to see how Jupiter's been impacting them. There's nothing better than astrology in the wild to just confirm all of the claims that astrology makes. So we're going to talk about Trisha Paytas because she had the most notable glow up, and we're going to look at Emma Chamberlain because she's having a Jupiter return. And let's get into the celebrity fun. Okay. Oh my gosh. And of course, Sabrina Carpenter, because she's a Taurus. Guys, there's so much fun stuff to look at. And we are talking about the people who just had this transit affecting an important Taurus house because we can really see it, like the astrology in the wild. We will talk in the future about people who are having positive things happen with Jupiter affecting their Gemini energies, like a very important natal house or a placement of Gemini in their charts. We will get to that, but I just think it's so much fun to look back because we can be like, oh my God, that's what that was. It's wild. So Trisha Paytas' birth chart. This is from astrocharts.com. Trisha Paytas was born in Riverside, California, May 8th, 1988 at 3:02 p.m. and her birth time accuracy is considered excellent. All right, here's her bio. Trisha K. Trish Paytas, born May 8th, 1988, is an American singer, songwriter, and internet personality. In 2006, Paytas began her YouTube channel, Blind Sundoll for MJ. She had made her debut television appearance as a correspondent in Greg Barrett's talk show, The Greg Barrett Show. I never knew that. She appeared on the show until it was canceled in 2007 after one season. Paytas then began stripping and doing extra work to support herself. Paytas had also been doing odd jobs during her early years living in Los Angeles, but stopped once her YouTube channel began receiving more attention and subscribers. She currently uploads videos every day. This is obviously an old bio, to her YouTube channel. She released the EPs Fat Chicks, Superficial Bitch, and Under the Covers in 2015, while in 2016, she released Daddy Issues and Showtime. So then she went on to do OF, which she then quit doing, and she's talked about some things that were going on during that time of her life. And she met Moses Hackman when she was doing the Frenemies podcast. Moses is, of course, Hila's brother. So anyway, that's a whole thing. If you guys know the Frenemies lore, you know it goes deep. Then, most recently, once Jupiter entered Taurus, which happens to be where her sun sign is, her Jupiter. Oh my God, I love it. Where her sun sign is and her Jupiter. So when Jupiter is conjunct your sun and natal Jupiter, I really can't think of anything more positive than that. I really can't, you guys. And that's why I wanted to share this with you because this is how powerful astrology is when we really look at the transits, we really look at our birth charts. You can actually predict these really positive things happening. You can see how she didn't know this, right? It just came naturally. It all was coming together for her. The universe was conspiring to give her a really positive year that's going to set her up for another positive year this coming year because her midheaven is actually in Gemini. So basically, Jupiter went from boosting her up, putting her in the spotlight. The sun is your ego, the spotlight, the sun like shining on you in a positive way, your ideas. When the sun is there with Jupiter, it's like you really get this expansion of people seeing you in a positive light, people seeing your light, people seeing what makes you special, your sun sign energy. So she was elevated in that way. Do you know who else was elevated in that way this past year while she was touring and opening for Taylor Swift? Sabrina Carpenter. Okay. Sabrina Carpenter, we don't know her birth time, but what I can tell you, what we do know for sure, is that Sabrina Carpenter is a Taurus sun. And just like fellow Taurus sun Trisha Paytas, 2003 through 2004 has been amazing. I didn't even know about Sabrina Carpenter until 2003. I did not know about her until Jupiter entered Taurus and connected and highlighted her sun sign energy and brought her into the spotlight of the cosmic consciousness. She's been around for forever, just like Trisha. I believe Sabrina Carpenter's released 5 albums. She's done a lot of music over the years, and so she's one of those examples of an overnight success that took, like, a long time to get here, and she was also a child actress, and, I mean, she's been working a long time for this breakthrough, and, of course, the breakthrough happened when Jupiter entered Taurus and connected to her sun and highlighted her talents and gave her that boost. So, just know this will happen for everyone because Jupiter just keeps on going every year, moves to the next sign. So if you're not feeling like this is your year, I promise there are other positive transits going on that you can use, but just know your time is coming. Jupiter is coming for all of us in the best possible way, okay? So there's that situation. So with Trisha, it's so crazy to me because she actually started her podcast in June of 2023. That was 1 month roughly after Jupiter had just entered her Taurus ninth house of higher learning, philosophy, publishing, broadcasting, but like internationally. And her podcast is international, right? Podcasts are international. So it's crazy to me. This ninth house that she has in Taurus, containing the sun and Jupiter, this couldn't be more positive. And if we go back a couple of years, so let's say 2 years ago, before Jupiter was in Taurus, Jupiter was in Aries. Okay, that was her eighth house of shared resources and finances, partnerships, deep transformation. Okay, so there were some really heavy themes happening. And when Jupiter is transiting your eighth house, that does expand your marriage partnerships, marriage contracts, shared finances, and resources. She has talked about how Moses, her now husband, had perfect credit and it boosted her credit when they got married. That's just a little fun fact. So they definitely combined finances and they definitely got married legally as well. Some people just like, say they're married, but they don't get married on paper and they keep it separate. They definitely combined finances. And then the year before that, Jupiter was transiting Pisces. And I believe that coincides with the whole frenemies debacle. And it coincides with her meeting Moses, which would be seventh house of partnerships, business partnerships. Also, the seventh house can rule open enemies. And I would definitely say that Ethan Klein is an open enemy of Trisha Paytas, whether or not they patch it up in the future. They've both talked about how I think they've kind of forgiven each other in a sense, but at one time, definitely open enemies. So seventh house is very interesting because it rules your partnerships. It could be positive partners and it can be open enemies. And then other fun fact, your 12th house rules your hidden enemies. So for her, that's anyone with strong Leo placements. She's got to just keep one eye open, one eye out for, because those could be a hidden enemy, potentially. Not everybody, potentially. So for her, Pisces energy, those people are a natural match for her. Pisces is a water sign, and I believe Moses is a Scorpio, her husband, but he does talk about how he is water. He did all this art photography with water. It sounds very Pisces in nature to me, very dreamy and floaty. So for her, the perfect partner is someone who's dreamy and floaty, and that is Moses. He has water energy, and that is very much her seventh house. She also has the North Node in her seventh house. So a few years ago, when she was doing the Frenemies podcast, the North Node is about our destiny and where we're headed. So she's actually trying to get more philosophical, more dreamy, more Piscean in this lifetime. And she does that through her partnerships, both through enemies and people who love her and support her. So I think that she's had huge learning life lessons through all of her friendships, all of her relationships. And I think that came to a head with Ethan Klein. And then, prior to that with the David Dobrik stuff, but really with Ethan Klein, because I think that the Frenemies podcast helped to lay the groundwork and the foundation for the podcast that she has now that is extremely successful. She's now getting brand deals. She's now signed with a big Hollywood agency and she's getting huge opportunities that she always wished that she would, had in the past. I mean, She really has finally hit her stride professionally. And she's even talked about how she's accomplishing now all the things that she wanted for so long. And that was when Jupiter entered that Taurus ninth house, again, containing her sun and Jupiter. So it's when her Jupiter return happened, the gifts from all the hard work. But I will say the journey to get here is always through the North Node. The North Node is our guiding light. And the fact that that's in our seventh house of both positive partners, which I would say that would be Oscar and Moses, and both open enemies. And I would say that would be like Ethan Klein, and then people of the past that she's had a lot of controversy with a lot of different people, right? So part of her North Node, though, in Pisces, in that seventh house of partners, is learning how to work with others and learning how to like let go and let God, essentially. When I think about Pisces energy, I think of let go and let God, because it's like Pisces is like, you do your thing and you get to be free, and I'll do my thing and I get to be free. And Pisces energy is just like floaty and spiritual and creative. And it's not about harsh judgments, it's about like acceptance and just like water, you know what I mean? Like very it's literally it's Moses energy. It's her husband Moses energy. So it's so crazy. So I definitely think that he helps her to push towards her North Node, which is, her purpose, and it's the North Node is what we're all striving for, and it feels very foreign to us, and it's kind of like something that you've never experienced before. Also, the fact that Jupiter is in her ninth house, the ninth house is higher learning, philosophy, and religion. And it's also like our higher mind. I think it's really interesting how people forgave Trisha and let her really back into their homes and subscribe to her YouTube channel. And like, she's even like signed to an agency now, and like all of this stuff where prior to this period, this Jupiter return, she really was ostracized and sadly, looked down on in the industry. And she's admitted that she, was dramatic and she was triggered and she had a lot of issues with different people and chaotic and was really trying to find herself and love herself. She's been so open about it, which I think that's another reason why people are able to open their hearts and forgive her. But if we look at the ninth house, and if we look at the way that she's spoken about things this time around with this podcast, she's been very careful to say things like, I don't want to be problematic. I don't want to judge people. She says things like, oh, like, but I understand, like, you have to have compassion, or like, I get it. Like, I was like that at one time, so I can't really judge. Like, it's very philosophical ninth house energy. It's like, been there, done that. It's not this quick to judge, this, kind of mean girl energy. It's not that. It's just not. So I think that also the reason that she was able to be so successful during that Jupiter transit is because she truly did learn, and she truly did find that Pisces North Node humility and the ability to just like kind of be more spiritual and like let it go. Also, she talks about how religion helped her, how exploring different Eastern religions, how she does believe in manifesting, and she really like meditates and like all of these things, which that's all, again, very Pisces North Node energy. So I feel that she also was able to leap into like this new quantum field of career success, this new stratosphere, because she also is embracing her Pisces North Node. She very much to me is acting like a Pisces North Node rather than a Virgo South Node. Virgo South Node can be very self-critical. We still see her struggle with that, when she talks about how she think, being overweight and different things, and she's very like particular about things. But I do think that she's in a period now where she's using that attention to detail and that drive and that focus. I mean, she pre-recorded so many episodes before she went for maternity leave, and then she was like back like right away. I literally will get like hay fever and I miss an episode, and I'm a Virgo sun, for goodness sakes. Her Virgo South Node, this talks about having a past life, mastering Virgo energy. So she truly is able to be like the highest level of Virgo. Now, unfortunately, Virgo energy can also be self-critical, neurotic, and if you don't have nurturing people around you, it can really spiral because, Virgo, just like Gemini, is ruled by Mercury, and that is an energy that can rule like mental imbalance. So definitely Virgos are known for being like neurotic and all of that. Guilty as well. And so we have to be really careful to be on top of our mental health. And that's also why Virgo rules the sixth house of like health, wellness. So it's important for people with anyone listening with Virgo energy to make sure that wellness is a top priority. It should be for all of us, but really Virgos, Geminis, they really do kind of fall apart at the seams when they don't take care of themselves, basically. And for her, with that being her South node, like I said, her not taking care of herself, her not loving herself, self love is also a really big theme for Virgo. She had to kind of master that energy before she could move into the Pisces energy of feeling safe enough and free enough to let go, to not be so judgmental, and to also accept the love of other people, accept, and be really creative and have a good time with things and have a light-hearted energy. Okay. So it's just so interesting to me. It's just so wild to see. Okay. So what's going to happen? Let's do a little prediction. What's going to happen for Trisha this year now that Jupiter is actually transiting her ninth house until 2025? Well, I'll tell you, wouldn't you know? I'm sorry, her 10th house until 2025. You guys, it's gonna go from good to great, okay? The 10th house for her is ruled by Gemini, and it contains Mercury, Venus, and Chiron. What? Okay. So here's what's going to happen. Okay. Predictions right now. So, first of all, huge career expansion to new heights. I think she's going to be like the Joe Rogan, or maybe even like the New Heights podcast, the New Heights, the Joe Rogan, like of female podcasting, or it would be like a role on a TV show in tandem with that. Gemini also rules two things. So it's the twins. So she could actually have like two different career opportunities. So it could be her podcast reaches a new level of popularity and superstardom, and she also gets a role on a TV show or as a TV host. This is all about her achieving her career dreams, the giver of gifts, your hopes and your wishes, your dreams coming true. So she's going to have a really positive year. Like, this is probably going to be her favorite year because she does talk about how much she loves being successful, and she's worked so hard and she hasn't always felt seen and accepted, and that this podcast is really everything. That makes me so happy because this next year, like, if you thought this year was good, Trisha, like, next year is going to be even more amazing. Also, with Venus in the 10th house, she's going to also be seen as extremely beautiful. She's been talking a lot about her health and fitness journey and wanting to do that like in the public eye. She's talked about how she actually doesn't want to do Ozempic because she's trying to look out for her long-term health, which, that's such a personal choice. But I think that's very Virgo South Node of her to be thinking of like her health and all that first. And she had Dr. Drew on and they were talking about it. And she said, okay, like maybe she would try high intensity interval training, like if she did it really started slow, the way that he was talking about. So I also predict public image, 10th house, Venus in the 10th house with Jupiter conjunct. That energy is going to expand her beauty and her public image, the way she's like seen in a favorable light. So I think that she could get into this fitness journey to where she feels really confident and beautiful. Jupiter really glowing that up for her. And then with Chiron there, when Chiron is conjunct Jupiter, it can be very healing. We can get this opportunity to heal all of the places where we didn't feel seen. It's like what was down is now up and vice versa. Like first will be last, last will be first. And I think that for a long time, she felt like the last one. She's talked about how she's had extra roles before. She's talked about how, things that like really didn't pan out. She paid for her own music videos. Like she's just very honest and real. And I don't think that she's felt really great about her career success. I think she's put in a lot of effort and hasn't seen the return or the rewards that other people have seen as far as like what she's tried to accomplish. I think that this year of Jupiter and Gemini, she's actually going to accomplish the things that in her mind she wants to accomplish, like a TV role, a movie role, a TV hosting gig, like something that she's always wanted. And that is going to be very healing for her with Chiron in the 10th house. She's finally going to feel like her ideas, that's Gemini. So having a Gemini ruled 10th house, this is about her meaning to be a communicator. She's always meant to be a communicator, a public figure, someone in the media. Okay. Because that's what that really means. But with Chiron there's this feeling that like you're not really seen or you can't talk or you're not smart or, all this stuff. And so she's tried to go about it all these different ways. Well, this is actually an opportunity this year to be seen as the opposite, for people to actually like what she has to say, for people to think that she communicates well, that she's articulating her thoughts, that she's very much embodying the essence of Gemini, which is wit and quickness and really being smart and feeling smart and like people respect you for what you've accomplished for who you are. And for Trisha, those feelings are extremely healing. So with Chiron there, not only is she going to experience like this glow up on every level, she also has Mercury there. Oh my God, also has Mercury there, you guys. So with Chiron, Mercury, and Venus all together in the 10th house, this talks about having insecurities with the way that you're perceived, like communication wise, Mercury, feeling like people don't think you're smart. Mercury is the way we think, the way we communicate. With Chiron there, it's like you feel like sometimes people don't think you're very smart, or like people don't understand what you're trying to say, or you don't understand what others are trying to say. And then with Venus there, it's not feeling pretty. And she has talked about how she feels like she's overweight and all this stuff. Well, now that Jupiter has joined all of these planets there in her 10th house, she is going to feel like that's all been erased. Everything is flipped upside down. That people think that she's beautiful and that she feels beautiful and that people understand what she's saying and she understands what others are saying. And it's just healing that Mercury, the chip on her shoulder. It's healing all of that. And I think that's great. And I just love to see it. I think that she is a person that has a good heart. And I think that we can see that she struggled a lot with like addiction and self-esteem and mental health diagnoses. And I love to see a good comeback story, a good glow up. And I think that it's important that she's been so open about it. I think that's also why I like her because when you are open about these issues, right, you kind of destigmatize it. And she's helped people to feel like they can also come back from things. And like, you can get another chance. And if you have good intentions and you try your best, you can keep coming back and you can do it bigger and better than ever. And that's exactly what she's doing. So that is my spiel. This went a little bit long. I wasn't expecting it. So here's what I'm going to do. Sorry, everybody. If you're not a member, I'm going to do a members only extended. I know, I'm sorry. And I am going to talk about some other celebrities and what we can predict and what we can expect for Jupiter in Gemini for these other celebs with prominent Jupiter placements. With prominent Gemini placements, I mean. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We have a new podcast episode every week. If you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Brit Madrid. And that's where I have episodes of this podcast and also my TV show, BZN TV, which is like mental health and wellness, and just all kinds of goodies over there. So I love you so much. Thank you for listening. Oh, yeah. And if you want to be a member, you can also become a member and listen to the extended version of this podcast and others, as well as personal tarot tea time readings, predictions, new moon, manifesting, all that good stuff over on the Brit Madrid YouTube channel under members. Okay, guys, I love you so much. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you soon.